First thing is the leader, right? When you feel stress, look at yourself. Do you create more stress for your team? And typically when you are stressed and you behave like that, then your team gets stressed. They feel the same stress. They behave in exactly the same way. And if your team grows, you just have more people around you that are stressed, which creates more stress for you, right? So that is not easy, but I experienced that this is the most effective thing, because I had these times when I was always stressed and my team was stressed, and that caused more stress.
So, hello Manuel. New week, new Q&A session as usual. Our topic today is around stress management strategies and how to possibly reduce the stress in your work environment. And even if we have already done several episodes around the topic stress and well-being, stress seems still persistent at workplace. So maybe we have to do another episode on that, as it is quite important. First question on my side, Manu, today is how to get better, like distinguishing between things that are really urgent and really important and, well, the others.
That's a very broad question, but I think it's also very important. And so for me, it gives me a big relief when I just write things down that are in my brain and then prioritize them and then write down what is really important and why. Or in other words, what will happen if I just don't do it, right? And then just having everything written down outside of your brain and make it something external, not just being the problems, right? When you constantly have everything in your brain, then it gives me a lot more clarity, and then I can manage that. And I do the same with my team. So whenever they feel, there are too many things going on, too many stress factors, we write them down, we prioritize them, we set deadlines, and we deal with them. And I think it's really important that as a leader, it's like crucial to help your team focus on priorities, on options, instead of adding more fear and more pressure and more deadlines to your team. Because when people are constantly under pressure, they are not able to think clearly. And if you are not able to think clearly, you cannot make smart decisions. So in the end, you have more people that make poor decisions, which creates more failures, which results in more stress. So that's just a choice in which direction you want to go.
Right. So what we see often is like a lot of like this artificially created stress, maybe from top-down management or clients, technical stuff that is happening, how we can tackle those things. So we reduce the artificial stress that is maybe seen often. There is not really a reason to be like really stressed, but we create it.
Yeah, I also see that. And many cultures are created by the belief that when we set a deadline, we need to hit this deadline. And I believe that reliability is very important. But it's also important to give your team something meaningful or a reason why something is important. Just to be dogmatic and set a deadline so that there is a deadline and that things need to be delivered in this deadline, I mean, that's not meaningful. And then when people don't have a meaning behind something they need to achieve, they have no drive, right? There is no motivation. I don't say that you should always work without a deadline. I mean the opposite. You need to set a deadline because work always expands to the time available. So if you don't set a deadline, then things take forever, right? But the question is, how do you deal with the team not hitting the deadline or not catching the deadline? And if you have a culture where then like people scream at each other and people like punish each other instead of finding a solution, you develop a culture that is more focused towards problems. And this is not fostering a mindset to achieve deadlines better and deal with stress better and find solutions, which is what you want. I think it's all a cultural thing, and culture means behavior, and behavior is driven by communication. So in the end, it's again a communication thing. And yeah, I believe communication toward solutions is always the right thing.
You mentioned just in the beginning about like writing things down if to get more clarity and reduce stress. Do you have more like tips or hints how to eliminate those stress factors first, maybe on a personal level? I think this is always a good start with yourself, and then if you're having responsibles for your team or for maybe the whole business, also on the corporate and business side, how can we strategically reduce those stress factors?
First thing is the leader, right? When you feel stress, look at yourself. Do you create more stress for your team? And typically when you are stressed and you behave like that, then your team gets stressed. They feel the same stress. They behave in exactly the same way. And if your team grows, you just have more people around you that are stressed, which creates more stress for you, right? So that is not easy, but I experienced that this is the most effective thing, because I had these times when I was always stressed and my team was stressed, and that caused more stress. So yes, for me, it's a big gift and a relief when I have structure that I can rely on, where I have my priorities clearly set. And I stopped believing myself that I need to do everything fast. I started to believe myself that I need to do things reliably and with good quality. And that changed the game, because whenever something came in and I had the belief that I need to do things fast, I always constantly reacted to it, tried to do it, and I tried to get everything done till the end of the day, which was not possible. So that put me in a driver's seat where I just like stressed myself out every day, because it was me telling myself that I need to get everything done. And when there are new emails and new questions from your team and new appointments here, and you believe you need to like tackle everything, that is highly stressful. So now today, I just think I need to analyze the things first and then prioritize them, and then do the most important things with full attention. And then I know that I never get stressed, and I do the most important things, which is the most important thing for me, while all other things might fall off the desk, but I know those are not the most important ones.
Mm. And what to do about those stress factors that are, or negative stress factors that or behavior that is around me that I'm not really able to influence directly. So stress factors come from the outside, maybe. How can I handle them if I'm not directly in control of them?
Yeah, so the answer is you cannot manage them, but you can manage how you react to them.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You can also like give people feedback, and you can still place a wish that next time you want to see a different behavior, right? So I don't know how that is called in English, but I think it's violent-free communication. That's a good pattern to give people feedback and hope that they like take it seriously and act on it. But in the end, you cannot control what other people do. You could apply force, but that's not a good leadership style, I believe. It's just creating enemies for yourself.
More stress.
But yeah, more stress. But yeah, handling how you react to it. I mean, when things happen, there's too much work, too many failures. You still have a choice how you react to that. And if you always try to stay calm and look at the things as they are, not as you think they are or they will become in the future, then you take out the fear from how you see things. And that reduces stress and helps you see things more clearly, make better decisions, creates better results, creates less failures, creates less stress.
Yeah. How can a lack of alignment between shared values and team standards like X-fold your stress levels?
Yeah, I mean, if you have different values, then you have different behaviors, and this results in different expectations. Now, in the end, people behave totally different and most likely work against each other, or they apply a behavior every day without having an understanding why other people behave differently. So I think that's the worst case, when you have totally different cultures, totally different people with different values, and even worse, no clearly set goals and no transparency about what's going on. I mean, the work in your business. Well, that can become a real toxic business. I had parts of it, but not at full scale. But I never want to go back because it was so stressful. It was like, a huge kindergarten with people that like all had their own things, had different problems, wanted different things from me. And even worse, they couldn't work without me, which caused a lot of stress for me.
Yeah. Can you also elaborate a bit on the importance of getting the roles clear and have possibly no or very little role ambiguity in your teams, how that can be helpful at reducing stress?
It's again about clarity and well-set expectations, right? If you don't have properly defined roles and people don't know what they are accountable for, what's their responsibility, and how they collaborate with others, then it's always just kind of the question, am I doing the right thing? And will I match the expectation of someone else, my internal or external client? And also people, I think I am the same, and I see that on my team, when they have structures they can rely on, and they know that when they are doing these things, then they are doing the right things, and they are good and okay and successfully doing their job, that gives them like peace of mind. They get more calm because they know what they are doing is the right thing. Otherwise, if you are constantly living in fear that if you do something, it doesn't match the expectation from someone else, or maybe it's not done in the right way, but you don't know how to do it right? So then it creates a lot of fear in the organization. And again, fear creates stress, stress creates failures, failures create more stress, and so on. So this clarity that is created by a role, by a clearly defined role, I think that is crucial, and it goes beyond the role. Then it's clarity about how do we collaborate? It's clarity about what does quality mean and how do we measure quality? It goes beyond the roles by defining what are our values and what is the behavior that we want to foster so that we have a culture that matches our values. Right? It's really clarity about everything. Never expect that people know or do what you want them to know or do, but make it explicitly available. Then it creates a lot of clarity. Yeah.
Yeah. Last question from my side. What feedback or what feedback you get now from people that you're working with maybe for a couple of years that know past times, how things were back then, and how they evolved during the time when the work environment became less stressful. Like what is the feedback you get from coworkers or from colleagues that you're working with? Since things have changed for you and for your the people that work with you in the different companies.
Yeah, you're asking that because you see the comments sometimes in the appreciation alert channel, right, in Slack.
I get it.
Yeah, it's really like I get so many thank yous, not just in the appreciation channel, but also in private messages, because people like the work environment where they can just focus on their skills and on doing their work properly, and where they have low stress and great collaboration. Of course, it's still a challenge for some people if they are simply not disciplined enough to really stay calm in their role, do the work in their role, and then when there are problems and failures, just deal with these problems and failures and ask others for support, because there is always support. The entire organization is built on support. So in the end, I see that people stay with me loyal for years, right? They really like to work with us, and we have rarely people that leave for the reason of too much stress, or they don't like the culture or so, right? And for me, it's also less stressful And we get much better results because people can work independently from each other. It's like a decentralized management system that is created by clarity and by self-managing teams and people that are supported by systems and leaders that provide them support and transparency. Instead of having a top-down management system where people are seen as resources and are then directed by a manager to do this and this and that and are constantly pulled around. Yeah, I'm very happy that we don't have this anymore.
Yeah, me too. I because I remember the time when I joined, like back then in Bright Solutions, it was like still like people jumping off and coming in and jumping off were like really stressful. And now for me, like at least from my role, what I see, it's really quiet. We have almost no fluctuation in the teams at all, right? And things are really calm. and all I really appreciate that.
Yeah, with just like 12 employees and 158 freelancers, where most people believe that freelancers are not reliable and like are not loyal and they leave. We also have exceptions, right? We hired one technical lead and this person quit from one day to another. This can happen. It also happened with employees. I had employees that told me to sign the contract, but they never appeared, right? So yeah, that's normal. But now we can onboard people in like a week or two, sometimes 3, where back in 2017, it took us 3 to 6 months.
Yeah.
So then a person leaving is a much bigger problem because it takes us much longer to find a replacement. And today it's like 2 weeks. And maybe sometimes we have someone in the talent pool that we can onboard fast and have a replacement in 1 or 2 days.
Right. Yeah, Manuel, any closing thoughts, remarks from your side, something that you would like to add?
I still believe in starting with results from your team, from your business, and then create role definitions so that your team knows exactly what they should do. And if you don't have a team, but you are stressed, then train yourself on not always reacting with fear and stress to things that happen, but try to see them more objectively and calm and deal with them as they are, not as you fear that they will be in the future.
Right. Cool. Then thank you very much again for your time, Manuel, and your input today. And I would say we see each other next week on our next Q&A session.
Cool. Thank you very much. See you soon.
Bye-bye. Bye.